Welcome to another Gladiator Soccer Academy video. This is going to be a new series mostly for our players, any coaches that want to see what we're doing and kind of get a better idea of positional play and just kind of everything that we're doing in our academy. I'm going to be putting in most of our sessions and a lot of them are going to be either me explaining it or just unfiltered so you can see, and mostly our players and our players' parents can see what we're doing. Since we are in not really a lockdown, but our parents aren't allowed into the session. So it's just another tool for our players also to watch it back. So if you've seen a lot of our videos, you know that I work a lot on positional play, which really just means what the players do when they don't have the ball. And I like to create patterns of play while doing it in a game-like environment. And what we've never really worked on is what to do in the final third. So we worked on getting to that final third, but what you'll hear a lot of the best coaches in the world is they'll say that it's down really to the players' creativity in the final third. And while I do agree with that, it's kind of a little bit misleading. And we'll go through that here, and then I'll show you this session exactly during our practice and kind of the players struggling a little bit and then eventually getting it by the end. So we start with our three forwards, or it doesn't have to be three forwards, it could be in a 2-3-1, right, with our midfielders who attack, or the 4-3-1 as well with our fullbacks attacking. Just depends on what you play, but even in a 4-3-3, these could be the wingers or fullbacks, doesn't really matter, but essentially we want three players at the top. And here we're talking about our wingers and our forward. That's what I'm technically saying they are, but again, like I just said previously, they could be any player on the wing. So the most important part here is to create a pattern for the player with the ball to be creative. And this is really the concept of positional play. We want the player with the ball to know by heart that when they are in this position, they're going to have an option here, here, and here. And if the player knows that, it gives the player with the ball the most amount of creativity possible. They can be as creative as they want. They can be more confident on the ball because they know they have support in all these different areas. They know that they take a player 1v1 and they have a player right behind them that's okay because if they lose the ball, they have support. So I'm a really big advocate of positional play. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it as fast as we can here. So the player comes down to the wing, and you'll see a pass from me to that player on the wing. And we want our forward to make a run in front of this defender and behind this defender. And that's really important, this behind here, because we don't want the player to have their eyes both on the center forward and the winger. So if you're making this run, it's making it very difficult. If we take this guy out for a second and we think about this player here, if they decide to take him, they're going to have their eyes on the ball and on the player, and that's very difficult to do. So that's very important. So that's that first run that we talk about. The second run is from the winger. And what I want is, as the player is dribbling the ball down, this player is going to follow this imaginary line, and I actually put the line in the session. And that line is from the goalpost down to kind of this corner all the way down. And we want this to happen together. So now, when this player is over here with the ball, he's pretty much on the edge of the box. Then the player is going to make a run in here to create a passing lane for the shot. And that's pretty much it. Super simple. But we want to rehearse it. We want to keep it simple. We want to rehearse it as much as we can. And the other very important part of this is the timing. Okay? So we want to talk about this player getting there first and this player getting there second. We want all eyes to be on this player so that hopefully we can drag some eyes on him or her, and then this player will come in to provide another option. And lastly, of course, if you follow what we've been doing in the rondos, this player will always have support, and you'll see that in the session. So let's get into it with the actual session. So here you'll see this is the same layout. We have 3 players, and that's a player on the left at the top, a player in the middle as my forward, and then a player on the right as my other forward. And here I'm just going through and explaining it, kind of what we're looking at. And you'll see the defenders here, and this is a pretty small area compared to what we're used to, but in my opinion, if you can do something in a smaller area where it's tighter, then you can do it in a bigger area. You'll see these blue cones here as that line that's come across, and they're going in 2 groups, a younger group at the front and an older group at the back. And this is me explaining. I just didn't get sound for some reason, so I make that pass down, and then we want that player to dribble the ball down, and I'm going to show that first run to my players, and this is a great for coaching. So we want to take it slow. We want to make sure that the players understand. And I'm showing him again where the line is. We want to be outside that line. And then that forward run. All right, so we talk about that. Let me see if I can fast forward this a little bit. We go a little bit faster. Here we go. Perfect. So I do want you to watch how these players, this is the first time they're seeing this, so it's okay to struggle through it. A lot of the times in YouTube videos, you're going to see the best of the best. I want you to see that it's okay to struggle, that it takes time, but by the end, they get it. And that to me is super important. So now I gave it kind of a limited explanation, and I really want the players to start kind of going through it. So now I just show, again, from each player's point of view. So I showed the forward, now I got to show the winger. And then again, we're talking a little bit about the runs, and that's it. All right. So now we go through. Now I let the players kind of go through it for a couple of minutes. Again, kind of making points just a little bit, but really letting them go through it. Of course, I'm in the way, which is great. And I haven't talked to these players yet, so we're just going to talk to them quickly, go through it. And then now I'm talking about that second run, which I haven't really talked about. I just kind of let that player run in. So now we talk about that triangle, which is where the 3 prongs are here, here, and in that middle. So I will pass that ball down, and I want those players to make the correct run. And after each time, I'm just going to use a phrase, whatever that phrase is for you. You kind of have to figure that out, but this is, you got to start coaching in phrases and getting the players to understand what you're saying in short phrases. So you can see here, it's starting to go a little bit quicker and quicker each time. There's less pauses in between each group's activity. And again, just small points, small phrases. And if you see the same issue twice, which I've seen it, I think 3 times, and again, the problem we had throughout the session was not getting that into that triangle. So now I really tried to show the players more of that triangle. The ball goes down, and then a great run in. Ball goes down, and then a great run in. Perfect, so I'm seeing exactly what I like. Good. So that took 9 minutes of that. And now what we go into is a rondo. So we have one player in the middle. And we'll go into actually building out from the back and trying to get into that position of playing to the top, not forcing it. Good, and again, that's okay. Right. So I want you to watch that it's okay to struggle. It's okay that the players aren't doing it perfectly every time because it's a process and we're building to it. Again, every time a player wins the ball, we switch. So now we get up, and then we use exactly what we spoke about earlier, trying to do that run. So now we're really playing. We're going from the goalkeeper, which is the player in the middle here. We have our wingers, we have a center mid, and then we have a forward. And then I'm just going to fast forward to the end here and show you by the end where we were. Really keeping that ball. And we also talked a little bit about what happens if that defender comes in and takes away our options. We can always go back. And you'll see that come into play right there. Perfect. Again, just keeping that ball. And that's great. Good. So the defender got a block there. So that's when we really started talking about, okay, the defender's there blocking your way. Can we reset? Or maybe that was after this one that I made that point. But what I love about this is that this is exactly what's going to happen in the game. Oh, a great pass back and a great finish. That was one of the better rounds. And we can see the evolution of the players right now, really starting to look up, playing the ball back. And then here we go, not forcing it, resetting it, and scoring. So this is one of the best ways to use a rondo that I really don't see coaches using. They don't use the rondos the right way. Okay, rondos are a part of the game. If you are using the rondos correctly, they should look like the game, and this looks like the game. All I have to do here, really, for this to be a real game is add more defenders and add a net on the other side. But for repetition, if we take out defenders, making it easier, and we take out the net, then that's great. And actually, in a lot of the coaching courses, they'll have you make a net here. But for me, the reward isn't, I don't need transition from one defender, right? When the defender wins it, their reward is to now become part of the offense, so they get to switch. So hopefully you learned a lot from this. Hopefully my players are watching, because that's what we really want. And coaches, if you learned something new, if you disagree, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I have another great video for our players and for you, just talking about the start of rondos.